Wealthy businessman decides to take his hard-working maid shopping as appreciation gift. But his jealous wife creates dramatic public scene, dragging the innocent girl from his car while neighbors watch and record everything on phones. Before you watch, full story comment below from which country. Are you watching? Don't forget to subscribe. Mr. Adebayo. Williams stood in the courtyard of his magnificent duplex in Lekki Phase 1, adjusting his gold wristwatch as he prepared to leave for a business meeting. The sun was bright and the compound was perfectly maintained, thanks to the hard work of their house help. Blessing. Blessing. He called out, his voice carrying the authority of someone used to being obeyed. A slender young woman of 20 emerged from the boys' quarters, moving quickly toward him. Blessing had been working for the Williams family for almost 2 years, ever since she came to Lagos from a small town in Cross River State. She was hardworking, honest, and never complained, even when the work was overwhelming. "Good morning, sir," Blessing said, clasping her hands respectfully in front of her. "Blessing, I want you to get ready. We're going to Acacia City Mall today," Mr. Williams announced with a smile. Blessing's eyes widened in confusion. "Sir, did I do something wrong?" "Wrong? No, not at all," Mr. Williams laughed. "You've been working tirelessly in this house. Today I want to take you shopping for some new clothes and shoes. Consider it a small token of appreciation." Blessing couldn't believe what she was hearing. In her 2 years of working for the family, she had never received such kindness. "Sir, thank you so much. God will bless you abundantly. Go and prepare yourself. Wear something nice. We'll be leaving in 30 minutes, Mr. Williams said, already imagining how happy this gesture would make the young woman. But what he didn't notice was his wife, Mrs. Funmi Williams, watching from the upstairs balcony. Her perfectly manicured fingers gripped the railing tightly, and her face twisted with anger and suspicion. Mrs. Funmi Williams stormed down the stairs, her expensive high heels clicking aggressively against the marble floor. She was a woman who prided herself on her appearance, always dressed in the latest fashion, her makeup flawless, her Brazilian hair styled perfectly. But right now her beautiful face was contorted with rage. "Adebayo," she shouted as she reached the courtyard. "What is the meaning of this nonsense?" Mr. Williams turned around, surprised by his wife's tone. "Funmi, what's wrong with you?" "What's wrong with me?" Funmi's voice rose higher. "You're asking me what's wrong? You want to take this house girl shopping like she's your daughter or something?" Blessing, who had been heading toward her room to change, froze in her tracks. Her heart began to pound as she realized she was about to become the center of a family argument. "Funmi, calm down. It's just a small gesture of appreciation. The girl has been working hard," Mr. Williams said, trying to keep his voice reasonable. "A small gesture?" Funmi laughed bitterly. "Since when do you take house help shopping? What kind of man does that? And without even telling your own wife?" Blessing stood there, unsure whether to continue to her room or stay and listen. She had never seen Mrs. Williams this angry before, and it frightened her. "I don't need your permission to show kindness to our workers," Mr. Williams replied, his own patience beginning to wear thin. "Kindness?" Funmi's eyes flashed dangerously. "Is that what you call it? Do you think I'm stupid, Adebayo? I've seen the way you look at her, the way you always defend her when I complain about her work." "That's enough, Funmi," Mr. Williams snapped. "You're being ridiculous." But Funmi was beyond reasoning now. She marched over to where Blessing stood frozen and grabbed her by the arm roughly. "You," she snarled at Blessing. "What have you been doing to my husband? What kind of jazz have you been using on him?" "Madam, I don't understand," Blessing stammered, her voice shaking with fear. "Don't lie to me." Funmi shook her violently. "You think I don't know what you're planning? You want to use my husband's money to buy fine clothes so you can look like a Lagos big girl, right?" Mr. Williams had started his car engine and was waiting for Blessing when he saw his wife dragging the young woman toward the vehicle. At first he thought Funmi had come to wish them well, but the look on his wife's face told him otherwise. "Blessing, get in the car," Mr. Williams called out, hoping to defuse the situation quickly. But as Blessing reached for the car door handle, Funmi yanked her backward with such force that the young woman stumbled and nearly fell. "She's not going anywhere," Funmi declared loudly. "Not in my husband's car, not with my husband's money." "Funmi, what has gotten into you?" Mr. Williams stepped out of the car, his face red with embarrassment and anger. Several neighbors had begun to gather, drawn by the commotion. "What has gotten into me?" Funmi's voice could be heard throughout the entire street now. "My husband wants to take a common house girl shopping like she's his wife. That's what has gotten into me." She turned to Blessing, her eyes blazing with fury. You shameless girl. How dare you accept such an offer from my husband? Don't you have any respect? Madam, please, Blessing begged, tears streaming down her face. I didn't ask for anything. Sir just said he wanted to appreciate my work. Appreciate your work? Funmi laughed mockingly. Which work? The work you do in this house or the other work you do for my husband when I'm not around? The gathering crowd gasped at the implication. Blessing felt her face burn with shame and humiliation. She had never been so embarrassed in her entire life. That's enough, Mr. Williams roared. Funmi, you've gone too far. But Funmi wasn't finished. She grabbed Blessing's arm again and began dragging her toward the gate. Get out of here. Go and find another house to work in. My home is not for husband snatchers. Please, madam, Blessing cried, trying to free herself from Funmi's grip. I need this job. I have to send money to my family. I don't care about your family, Funmi spat. You should have thought about that before you started seducing my husband. Mr. Williams rushed forward and grabbed his wife's wrist, forcing her to release Blessing. That's enough. You're acting like a mad woman. The words hit Funmi like a slap. In front of all the neighbors, her husband had just called her mad while defending the house girl. Her humiliation was complete. The crowd slowly dispersed, but the damage was done. Videos had been taken on mobile phones, and by evening, the story of the wealthy man's wife who humiliated their house girl would be spreading across Lagos social media. Inside the house, an uncomfortable silence settled over everyone. Blessing had retreated to her room, too ashamed to come out. She sat on her small bed, staring at the ceiling and wondering if she should just pack her things and leave Lagos entirely. Mr. Williams paced in his study, furious at his wife's behavior, but also deeply embarrassed by the public scene. He prided himself on being a respected member of the community, and now his family drama was the talk of the neighborhood. Funmi sat in the living room, her anger slowly giving way to a gnawing worry. She had acted on pure instinct and jealousy, but now she was beginning to realize the consequences of her actions. What if her husband really was just being kind? What if she had destroyed an innocent girl's life over her own insecurities? Around 6 p.m., Mr. Williams finally knocked on Blessing's door. Blessing, please come out. We need to talk. When Blessing emerged, her eyes were red and swollen from crying. She had packed her small bag, ready to leave if necessary. Sir, I'm sorry for causing problems in your marriage, she said quietly. I think it's best if I find another job. Mr. Williams felt his heart break at the sight of this young woman who had done nothing wrong, but was ready to sacrifice her livelihood for his family's peace. No, Blessing. You've done nothing wrong. The fault is not yours. He reached into his wallet and pulled out a large bundle of Naira notes. Take this 200,000 Naira. Buy yourself some nice things and don't let what happened today make you think less of yourself. Blessing's eyes widened. Sir, I cannot take this money. It will cause more problems. It's my money and I decide what to do with it, Mr. Williams said firmly. You deserve this and more. But as Blessing reluctantly accepted the money, neither of them noticed Funmi standing in the shadows, watching the entire exchange with growing fury. That night, as the family sat down for dinner, the tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a knife. Funmi had prepared the meal herself, dismissing Blessing from kitchen duties, partly as punishment, partly to avoid another confrontation. Blessing, Mr. Williams called as she served the rice and stew. Did you manage to get yourself some nice things today? The question was innocent enough, but it was like pouring fuel on a smoldering fire. Blessing glanced nervously at Funmi before answering. No, sir, I decided to save the money. Save it for what? Funmi interjected sharply. To run away with it? Funmi, Mr. Williams warned, his voice low and dangerous. No, let me speak. Funmi stood up abruptly, knocking over her chair. Since morning, you've been treating me like I'm the villain in this story. But I'm your wife. Not her! She pointed an accusing finger at Blessing, who was shrinking into herself, wishing she could disappear. I gave her money because she works hard and deserves to be appreciated. Why is that so difficult for you to understand? Mr. Williams asked, his patience finally exhausted. Because husbands don't give their house helps 200,000 Naira just for appreciation, Funmi screamed. Are you out of your mind? Do you know what people will say? Do you know what people are already saying after today's drama? The mention of the public humiliation seemed to reignite Mr. Williams' anger. Yes, I know what people are saying. They're saying my wife is a jealous, insecure woman who humiliated an innocent girl in front of half the neighborhood. The words hung in the air like a bomb that had just exploded. Funmi stared at her husband in shock, unable to believe that he had spoken to her that way. "So that's it," she said quietly, her voice trembling. "You've chosen her over me. Your own wife. This isn't about choosing anyone." Mr. Williams slammed his hand on the table, making the plates jump. "This is about you treating a human being like garbage because of your own insecurities." Blessing, who had been frozen in place throughout the argument, finally found her voice. "Sir, madam, please stop fighting because of me. I'll leave. I'll go back to my village tomorrow." "No." Mr. Williams turned to her. "You're not going anywhere. This is your home, too." The words were meant to comfort Blessing, but they were the final straw for Funmi. Her husband had just called this house the maid's home, too, in front of her in her own dining room. Without another word, Funmi walked out of the dining room and went straight to their bedroom. She pulled out 2 large suitcases from the wardrobe and began throwing clothes into them randomly. Mr. Williams found his wife packing frantically, tears streaming down her face as she stuffed expensive dresses and shoes into the suitcases without any care for how they might get wrinkled. "Funmi, what are you doing?" he asked, though the answer was obvious. "I'm leaving," she said without looking at him. "Since you've made it clear that I'm the problem in this house, I'm removing myself from the equation. Don't be dramatic. Come, let's sit down and talk about this properly." Funmi whirled around to face him. "Dramatic? You think I'm being dramatic? My husband publicly defended a housegirl over his own wife, gave her 200,000 naira like she's family, and I'm being dramatic for feeling hurt? You humiliated that girl in front of the entire neighborhood. You accused her of things she never did."
"What did you expect me to do?"
Mr. Williams shot back. "I expected you to stand by your wife," Funmi screamed. "I expected you to understand that your actions were inappropriate and apologize. But instead you've made me look like the villain." She zipped up the first suitcase with such force that the zipper nearly broke. "You know what? Keep your precious maid. Treat her like the queen of this house. Buy her gold jewelry next time. Maybe take her on vacation to Dubai." "Funmi, you're being ridiculous." "Am I?" She grabbed her car keys from the dresser. "We'll see how ridiculous I am when you're explaining to your family and friends why your wife left you for a housegirl." As she dragged her suitcases toward the door, Mr. Williams made one last attempt to stop her. "Funmi, please. Don't let pride destroy our marriage." She paused at the doorway, her back still turned to him. "It's not pride, Adebayo. It's self-respect. Something I should have shown a long time ago." The next morning, news of Mrs. Funmi Williams' departure spread through their social circle faster than wildfire. Phone calls came in from concerned friends and family members, all asking the same questions. What happened? Why did Funmi leave? Is it true she left because of your house girl? Mr. Williams found himself in the uncomfortable position of having to explain a situation that, in hindsight, he realized he could have handled much better. Yes, his wife had behaved badly, but perhaps he had been too quick to take Blessing's side without considering how his actions might appear to others. Blessing, meanwhile, was devastated. She had never intended to cause problems in the family, and now the madam had left because of her. The guilt was eating her alive. "Sir?" She approached Mr. Williams as he sat in his study, staring at legal documents he couldn't concentrate on. "Maybe I should leave after all. This is all my fault, no Blessing. This is not your fault," he said tiredly. "This is between my wife and me." But even as he said the words, Mr. Williams couldn't shake the feeling that maybe, just maybe, he had handled things poorly. Maybe he should have discussed his plans with Funmi first. Maybe he should have been more understanding of his wife's concerns. Within a week, the story had spread far beyond their immediate neighborhood. It became a topic of heated debate in Lagos social circles, with people taking sides based on their own experiences and biases. Some supported Mr. Williams, arguing that showing kindness to domestic workers was admirable and that his wife had overreacted out of jealousy. Others supported Funmi, saying that no wife should have to watch her husband lavish attention and expensive gifts on another woman, regardless of that woman's social status. The debate raged on social media, with hashtags like "Darn Support the Maid" and "Stand by Your Wife" trending for days. Pastor Johnson from their church came to visit Mr. Williams, hoping to mediate and save the marriage. "Brother Adebayo," the pastor said, settling into one of the leather chairs in the living room. "Pride comes before a fall. Both you and Sister Funmi need to swallow your pride for the sake of your marriage. Pastor, I was just trying to be kind to someone who works hard for our family. I didn't expect it to turn into this," Mr. Williams replied, looking exhausted. "I understand your heart was in the right place, but wisdom is profitable to direct. Perhaps you should have involved your wife in the decision. A wise man considers the feelings of his wife in all things." The pastor's words resonated with Mr. Williams. He began to realize that while his intentions were good, his execution had been flawed. 2 weeks after Funmi's departure, Mr. Williams received a call that made his blood run cold. It was Funmi's sister, Bisi. "Adebayo, you need to come to the hospital immediately. Funmi collapsed at our mother's house. The doctors think it might be stress-related." Mr. Williams dropped everything and rushed to Lagos University Teaching Hospital, where he found Funmi lying unconscious in a private room, connected to various monitors. "What happened?" he asked Bisi, his voice shaking with worry. "She's been crying every day since she left your house," Bisi explained. "She barely eats, barely sleeps. This morning, she just collapsed while helping Mama with breakfast." As Mr. Williams sat beside his wife's hospital bed, watching her pale face and listening to the steady beep of the heart monitor, he felt an overwhelming sense of guilt and regret. This was his wife, the woman he had married and promised to love and protect. How had things gotten so bad between them? When Funmi finally opened her eyes, the first person she saw was her husband. "Adebayo," she whispered weakly. "I'm here," he said, taking her hand gently. "I'm right here." Tears began to flow down Funmi's cheeks. "I'm sorry for causing a scene. I'm sorry for embarrassing you and the girl. I was so scared." "Scared of what?" Mr. Williams asked softly. "Scared of losing you," Funmi admitted. "Scared that you were falling in love with someone younger and prettier. Scared that I wasn't enough for you anymore." Mr. Williams felt his own eyes fill with tears. "Funmi, you're my wife. Nothing and no one could ever replace you. I was wrong to not consider your feelings. I was wrong to put you in a position where you felt threatened in your own home." After 3 days in the hospital, Funmi was discharged with strict instructions to rest and avoid stress. Mr. Williams took a week off from work to care for his wife and to work on repairing their marriage. On the 4th day, they both sat down with Blessing for a long, honest conversation. "Blessing," Funmi began, her voice still weak but sincere, "I owe you a tremendous apology. I treated you badly, and I said things that were cruel and untrue. I was not angry at you. I was angry at the situation, but I took it out on you, and that was wrong." Blessing, who had been nervous about the meeting, felt a wave of relief wash over her. "Madam, thank you for saying that. I never wanted to cause problems in your home. I respect you and sir very much." "I know that now," Funmi said, "and I want you to know that you have a place in this household for as long as you want it. You're a good girl and you don't deserve to suffer because of my insecurities." Mr. Williams cleared his throat. "Blessing, I also want to apologize. I should have handled things differently. I should have discussed my plans with my wife first, and I should have been more sensitive to how my actions might be perceived." The three of them spent the next hour talking openly about boundaries, expectations, and mutual respect. It was the kind of conversation that should have happened years ago, but it was happening now, and that was what mattered. 6 months later, the Williams household had found its new rhythm. Funmi had learned to see Blessing not as a threat, but as a valuable member of their household team. She even began including Blessing in some of her charity work, helping the young woman develop new skills and confidence. Mr. Williams learned the importance of communication in marriage and made sure to discuss major decisions with his wife before acting on them. He also established clear boundaries about his interactions with all household staff, not because he had done anything wrong, but because he understood now how easily innocent gestures could be misinterpreted. Blessing continued to work for the family, but with a new understanding of her role and place in the household. She saved her money diligently and eventually started a small business selling handmade crafts, with encouragement and support from both Mr. and Mrs. Williams. The story of their conflict had taught all of them valuable lessons about respect, communication, and the delicate balance of relationships within a household. As for the community, many people learned from watching the Williams family navigate their crisis. Some marriages were strengthened as couples had honest conversations about boundaries and respect. Others realized the importance of treating domestic workers with dignity while maintaining appropriate relationships. The golden rule prevailed in the end: Treat others as you would want to be treated. And always remember that behind every action, there are real people with real feelings, fears, and hopes for the future. What do you think? Did each character learn the right lessons from this situation? How would you have handled things if you were in their position? Share your thoughts and don't forget to engage with more stories that explore the complexities of human relationships and social dynamics.